So why did I actually choose to go into real estate investing? Well, we had a client in real estate. They sent us those referrals, sent us referrals. And here I am, this idiot kid that doesn't know how to like manage, scale a team. So I end up with this waiting list of onboarding clients, right? I have a waiting list of like all these people who want to onboard with us in real estate. And then
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, and today we are sitting down with Brandon Bateman. What's happening, Brandon? How we doing?
Dude, another day, another fun experience, right? So it's always a good time. We were just talking about so this morning I woke up nice and early. I climbed a mountain. I snowboarded down the mountain. Got to work by 9 a.m. and came into what appears to be a pile of issues based on our Facebook account as a company getting hacked in the night. So anyways, it's been a good day and also a challenging day in a few ways, but we're making it through it and we're making an impact. So that's what it looks like. Yeah.
That's right. And you still got a smile on your face, which is very important. That mindset, keeping it sharp, keeping prepared. That's what entrepreneurship is about. That's what being a business owner and wearing that hat. There's ups and downs and there's fires every day, but I'm glad that we get your time today to be able to pour into this. And I'm glad you got a nice little snowboarding trip on the way down this morning. That sounds fun. Where are you located? In Utah?
Yeah, Utah.
Cool. Awesome. Anybody out there that doesn't know more about who you are, where you're from, what you're up to, do you mind just giving that 30,000 foot view for us?
Yeah. So I have a little family. I've got a wife. My wife and I, we've known each other since we were 4 years old. We dated when we were in high school. We ended up getting married. We've got two little girls. They're 3 years old and 1 year old. So I've got this tiny little family.
Were you guys neighbors? How did that work? Were you guys neighbors?
We weren't neighbors, but we lived pretty close to each other, about 10 minutes away from each other. Our parents were friends.
Okay.
In church. So that's kind of how we knew each other for a while. So it's an unusual story. It's the only story I know. But yeah, that's been a really cool journey. Obviously a great part of my life. I've loved being a father as well. This time of year, way into snowboarding and split boarding. If you know what that is, you kind of take a snowboard, splits into two pieces, you hike up mountains and you snowboard down them. It's a ton of fun. And you can do it earlier because, ski resorts don't open until 9 o'clock, but I could be back at my house at 9 o'clock, right? Yeah. So there's never an excuse not to, right? There's always a time of the day that you're still available. Like what else you got going on at 5 a.m.? Probably not much, right? So that's super fun. And Bateman Collective, my company, we've been around for, I want to say 8 years now. It's almost 8 years. And I've been working with real estate investors exclusively for about the past 5 years of that. At the beginning, we're, doing some other stuff too. And that's kind of been the fun journey is let's just engineer this system where we can figure out how to get motivated seller leads that are better quality at the right price to get a good return on investment through these online marketing channels. And that's what we've been doing for all this time. And I absolutely love it.
I love it. So you've been doing it for 8 years. What got you started into this? What were you doing before marketing?
Yeah, well, my resume is not incredibly impressive. I had the jobs that you sort of expect, a high schooler to have, right? Like my first job was when I was 14 years old. I worked at a grocery store, right? And then it was my sophomore year of college that I started this company. So this company kind of is my career. I didn't have
this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a real career, right? Not doing real stuff. Who does very much stuff before their first year of college is over. Not tons of people. So this is kind of what I did. This is the beginning. I still remember my third client ever was a real estate investor. We were just an agency, just working with anybody doing anything in the paid ad space, which is 95% of agencies. That's what they do. It's just kind of we specialize in Google ads. We specialize in Facebook ads, whatever it is. And that's what's called a niche is I just do paid ads marketing, but I could work with, anybody. So I still remember the first time I ever did Google ads was because I got a call from somebody and said, you know what, I'm in the real estate investing space. I've worked with all these different agencies. I haven't been able to figure out how to make this work. I only have about a 2x return on my PPC marketing. Could you make it better? And I said, well, maybe. And he said, well, why don't you come to my office tomorrow? And I, knowing that I had no idea how to run Google Ads, I said, I'm sorry, I'm busy tomorrow. Could I come by next week? And I spent like the whole next week, like watching YouTube videos about how to run PPC marketing. Like that was like the very beginning. I go to this guy's Bateman office and he shows me his Google Ads account. He's like, what would you do to make this better? And I just said like, you know what, Mark, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know how to make this better. Here's 5 ideas that I have. And what I can tell you, I can promise you is that I will stop at nothing to make it work. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do that's going to be the thing that makes it work, but I will do whatever it takes to make it work. And I was just running through the numbers with this client the other day. They've done like $9.5 million in revenue from online marketing over the past 8 years that we've been working with them, and been wildly consistent. You know, some years as high as like 11x return, some years as low as a 4x return. And they've just been wildly consistent with it. And it's cool to see that come like all full circle, right? That's like my first this real estate space. So in a lot of ways, like this company is my career. Like this is where I learned what I do. And we just kind of like slowly snowballed that into creating something pretty great.
I love that, man. I love that story. It's such like the entrepreneur spirit of just like, dude, I have no idea, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I'm not, give me some time so I can figure it out. But does he know that story now?
Yeah, he does. Although he didn't. I'm just like, I'm this young kid. Right. Yeah. Thankfully, in digital marketing, like a lot of people look at you and you're young and they're like, oh, he probably knows a lot about computers. Like that's the guy. Right. So that was good. But yeah, I'm this young guy. So most of my clients at the beginning didn't really know I was in school. Like I never lied about it. But I was just like, I didn't make a point to bring it up. I was just always trying to, this is what I do. And yeah, I guess everybody at some point kind of fakes it until they make it a little bit. It's kind of what my journey was. And it's crazy how much you can learn though, because my company went through like all these phases. Like I got to the point where I was working with like some companies that are spending millions of dollars a month on PPC marketing and working with these like high level teams, and I learned so much about it. Right, it's crazy what you learn from just being out there and doing. And it's really convinced me that like the greatest skill of all skills is basically the skill of learning new things. And really what it comes down to is just curiosity, right? If you could just look at what you're doing from the standpoint of like not thinking you know what you're doing. Like I'm still that way even to this day, where I look at every single thing I do on a day-to-day basis. Like I am a student of this world. I'm a student of the other people that probably know more than me. There's something I can learn from everybody. And you just kind of take that mindset to it and just be like a sponge. And it's like, that's how I was like when I knew nothing. And that's how I am today when I know like more things. And it's just, that's just my personality. It's who I am.
That's so good. It's so good. I'm glad that you brought this up because I wanted to ask like other avenues that you've soaked up some knowledge and learning from. But I think that really just nails it right there. It's like, at the end of the day, when you have that mindset that you're like, you're not the one that has all the knowledge, but there's other people within this room that like you still have something to bring to the table, but there's other people in this room that you could definitely extract some value from and get the knowledge and be able to improve your stuff, and then get into other rooms and do the exact same thing and just keep soaking it up so that you can help out more people. Like you're just building out that tool belt, if you will, so talk to me, any other platforms or places, locations that you were investing in yourself or just soaking up some knowledge over the years?
Yeah, really the main thing. So at the beginning, like I said, we worked with different companies, but really the big deal right now that we do is online marketing for real estate investors. And I've just been like wildly focused on that for a period of time. Of course, as you know, like as you're progressing in that, like everything changes, right? Because at first the whole game is, can I be good at digital marketing? And then the game becomes, can I be good at hiring and building a team? And then the game becomes, can I build and manage multiple levels of leadership? And all these things, right? So it's like does my, does what I do look the same as it did, 8 years ago? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But the company's kind of doing the same thing, right? We're just doing it on a different level. We're doing it at a higher volume. So that's kind of what my journey's been like. And really like we're kind of split into like 3 services that we do a lot right now. There's Google PPC marketing, there's Facebook ads marketing, and then there's SEO. So those are kind of the three channels that we help investors with. And if you know online marketing for motivated sellers, that's kind of, the big 3. There's of course other little channels, like could you run TikTok? Sure. It's definitely not one of the primary channels that people are using. It's not one of the best channels in my opinion. Right. So that's where, like, as it relates to online marketing, we cover the three that really matter.
Well, even just speaking on TikTok for a second, a lot of the information that I hear, at least, a lot of people utilize TikTok, if they do, just to be able, it's kind of like the wild, wild west of what Facebook used to be, with like blowing up their stuff and then really blowing that up to be able to bring back onto some of the other platforms like Facebook and so forth. Correct?
Yeah, you have a more stable following. Also, it's there are kind of two different sides of social. There's the organic side and the paid side.
Yes.
As it relates to motivated sellers, I have not really seen organic social to be like a great channel. I'm not saying you can't get deals from it, because I know people, for example, that
Sure.
like they get deals from their organic social, but the way they're doing it is they're attracting like JV deals, or they're attracting deals from realtors and stuff like that. Like, you can make that play. But as far as like getting directly to motivated sellers,
Yeah.
nobody follows their favorite wholesaler on Facebook until the moment they sell their house. Like, it's just,
So you need it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they don't care about you. You're
Yeah.
not Christina to them
Yeah.
until the moment they need you, in which case they're very interested. And then the moment they don't need you anymore, they're also not interested. Right. So, like, real estate investing companies aren't like Coca-Cola, right? We're not just building like this brand that everybody's interested in all the time. It's kind of like you use it once and then probably never again, until, like, I mean, I guess like you buy another house and then 20 years later you want to sell to another investor, but it's not like a recurrent business. So anyways, as far as search marketing goes, and search marketing is like people searching on search engines and then you're showing up with ads. That happens very ordinarily organically and through paid, right? So those are the kind of the two sides of that coin. You have PPC,
SEO for that. SEO, right? Yeah.
yeah. So those are like the two sides of that. As far as social goes, it's really just the paid ad side that we're doing. We're not doing organic.
Okay. And before we start diving into these and breaking them down, what does it kind of look like? Like, what's the process? Is it more like a landing page? Is it kind of built out like a funnel and so forth? Like, is it going straight to book a call with somebody? Are they watching a video? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a very like direct lead capture process that we're typically using for this space. Different spaces. Like, if you look at our own ads, yeah, the funnels are getting a lot more sophisticated and stuff. But again, like, motivated sellers, pretty simple. Like, I just want to talk to someone as soon as possible about my problem that I have that's causing me to need to sell my house. And it's not complicated, right? I need to sell my house fast. Like, it's like among the most basic like transactions, at least from like, we're not going to like nurture this person for a long time and like funnel to get them reach out or something like that. What we find is most people, after they click, they will fill out a form. If they're going to fill out a form ever, they will fill it out pretty quickly.
Cool.
So certain things like retargeting that might be like big for my business. Do we do them for our clients? Absolutely, because they're so cheap. But like for my business, I get so much value from retargeting. Our clients usually not quite as much. And do they get value in excess of what it costs? Yes, because it's cheap, but they're not, nobody's doing like 5 deals a month for retargeting. It's really that they're generating like new net leads. So the process is super simple, whether we're talking SEO, pay-per-click, Facebook ads. It's really like the traffic is generated from wherever it's generated from, depending on the channel. And then people are brought to either a website or a landing page. For SEO, it's going to be a website because you don't rank landing pages, right?
Sure.
So organically, you're going to be ranking a website. But with PPC and Facebook ads, that would be through a landing page. And then usually we have a 10-step form that people go through, ask some like a variety of questions. What we'll do is when they fill out the first part, we'll ask for like the bare minimum information you need for this to be a lead, which is a property address and a phone number. That's when we send it to our client. And then the rest of the steps of the form are just kind of to keep the person there so that they're not going somewhere else and submitting another form. And, you've got this like little ticking time clock of if you can call them pretty quick, then they're not going to be somewhere else first. And then also you will gather some additional information from people, but really the primary thing there is let's keep them busy while you call them.
That's so good. I love that. So you basically have them filling out like a longer form that you already captured their info. Now you're getting ready to call them, but you need a little buy time. So that's good.
Yeah. And if they don't answer your call, then you'll get a bunch more information that'll help you like, qualify the lead and that type of thing.
Yeah. Brandon, talk to me why real estate? Because I know, in the very beginning, the first maybe couple years, you were kind of doing a bunch of different things. Why'd you niche it down to real estate? Are you doing real estate as well? And did you have anybody in the family that was kind of doing real estate?
No, actually. So
yeah,
there's two different ways I can answer this question. One of them makes me seem really smart and the other one makes me seem really dumb. The dumb one is actually the true answer.
Go the smart one. Go the smart. I'm just kidding. No, I know you're a blunt, raw type of person. So you tell it how you want.
I'll tell you the dumb one. And then I'll tell you why actually I didn't realize the genius in what we were doing anyways, what we've been able to do. So why did I actually choose to go into real estate investing? Well, we had a client in real estate. They sent us those referrals, sent us referrals. And here I am, this idiot kid that doesn't know how to like manage, scale a team. So I end up with this waiting list of onboarding clients, right? I have a waiting list of like all these people who want to onboard with us in real estate, and then all these people who want to onboard with us not in real estate. And it didn't take me being that smart to realize it takes like 5 times as much effort to onboard one of these people that's not in real estate, because we're reinventing the wheel. We're trying to figure out like, who is their target market? How's all this work? Versus in real estate, it's like, oh, we're looking for motivated seller leads. They're just now in Houston instead of Dallas. Is it that hard to figure out how to do it in Houston if you already know how to do it in Dallas? No, not that hard, right? So what I did is I just said, well, we can't onboard any of those clients outside of real estate, because we can onboard like 5 of these ones in real estate for everyone outside of real estate. And our constraint right now is that we haven't scaled the team as much as we have to scale the team, right? So that's why we chose to go all in on real estate, was simply because like we could not do everything that we wanted to do. If it weren't for that, would I have ever made that decision? I don't know. But what's crazy is when I started thinking about my business as we do this for real estate investors, not work these channels, and real estate investors are our clients, the whole game changed. And the reason the whole game changed is because now I realized that we really have the ability to do things that an agency just can't do. So we started to really pioneer a lot of stuff that we're pretty unique in doing, even from like an agency standpoint as a whole. Like you won't find other agencies doing this in the world. And I'll just give one example of this. I'll give 2 examples. Okay, they'll humor me. So one example. This is a Google PPC thing. In Google PPC, the way that you optimize is that you kind of tell Google what success looks like for you. You track that success happens, you feed that to the algorithm, and then the algorithm gets smarter and it's able to find more of those things, right? So the way people typically do this is I'm gathering all this traffic, but then some people fill out the form on our website and some don't, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to fire a JavaScript code that tells Google that this person converted when they fill out the form. And then what Google does is it knows who did and who didn't convert. And then that's the data it uses to know who should I target and how aggressively should I go after them, right? Like this individual user that has these 10,000 data points about them, things like their gender and their age and their income and where exactly they live. And did they visit uhaul.com yesterday? And what exactly did they type into Google today? And what did they type last month? And all those things can be predictive of their behavior, right? Sure. And to learn those things, it learns how to bid. And that's how it like finds you the right people and gets your ads in front of them. Well, here's the thing that's generally true about that. The more data you're feeding that algorithm, the smarter it's getting, right? Because it's learning more what works for you. You can think of it like if your job is to like know what a property is worth, you got to have comps, right? And the more comps you have, the more accurate that is, right? And a lot of people, when they're starting out in Google Ads, it's as if they're valuing those properties, the property being the clicks that they're buying, but they don't have any comps, right? So you're just kind of guessing. And then over time, you kind of gather some data of the comps. And the reality is the data is always really sparse because there's thousands of different things that people are searching, all this stuff. It's almost as if like, you're trying to get comps on a property, but the closest property is like, 30 miles away that you have a comp on. It's not super useful, right? So what we did is we use this strategy to aggregate our data. It's called the strategy that kind of like gathers that information. It's called a bid strategy. We use a bid strategy. It's called the bid strategies because it informs kind of like how much you're bidding on the individual ad inventory. What we use is actually called a portfolio bid strategy, and it can exist on a cross account level. And the way that works is we have a system that's gathered all this data from all the spend that we're doing for all of our clients. And if like, let's just say you started your ads yesterday and I looked into your account and I saw like how much data is behind the strategy. The answer would be like, I don't know, maybe $100, like whatever you spent yesterday, right? Yeah. There's no data behind it. If you started with us, I click on that same thing, you have $100 history in your account. In there, you'd see over $20 million worth of ad spend history that's behind your account. And that means that like you're getting started faster. And it means that in Google's eyes, you have more data than anybody else in the industry, which means you get much, much better results, right? So what we did is we said our clients are small, right? So these algorithms, they work really well for these companies that are spending $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a month in Google. ads, but they don't work for the people who are spending $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a month in Google ads because there's not enough data flowing through them. What we did is we aggregated that data so we could have more data flowing through it, which we could not do if we didn't just work with real estate investors, right?
Sure. Yep.
Because it would actually hurt you if we were taking the data from a bunch of other companies and using that to inform your bids, if those companies weren't doing exactly the same things that you're doing as a business. But because they are doing what you are doing, then it works really well. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, that's so good. That makes sense. And so there's even just levels of marketing. Like the more that you spend, sometimes the ROI starts actually compressing a little bit. It starts kind of filling in that gap. And most people aren't necessarily aware of that at first. Like everybody's like, hey, I'm making an ROI, just like flood the pedal down, right? And pump in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marketers, they're actually good at not just like getting a return on investment, but scaling that, which is that's the real hard thing.
Yes, I actually guilty as charged. Like I made this mistake at the beginning of last year. We were doing great, cranking things up. And my solution to certain problems was, or whatever, it was just like, we have the credit lines, we have the money for it, like pump it in. And they were trying to hold me back, but me being the boss, they were just like, okay. And so it was one of those situations that you quickly learn when you get out of pocket and it wasn't making sense. So
yeah. Another example of like the benefit of being in the same industry is like with Google PPC, for example, it could be that you're spending $5,000 a month and you're getting whatever you're getting for that. We could actually forecast out what that would look like if it was 10, 20, 30, 40 grand a month. And the way we do that is we see what happened when we scale other clients.
Yep.
And we mapped out kind of all those data points and we find the line of best fit of exactly what the line of diminishing returns look like. So then we can talk to like who else can do that, right? So now we can talk to our clients that we're working with and we can just say like, oh, you want to raise your budget to 20 grand. Do we know exactly what that's going to do? No. But what do most marketers do? They say, well, let's try it and see what happens. What can we do? We can say, well, this probably will produce about this result.
Yeah.
And then we can look at it. And if that's the result that we're not happy with, or we would not be happy with, then we know we probably don't want to do that. Or
until you have
remove.
Yeah, until you have like this much to actually go for it. So that is so good. That's so good. That's very valuable. Because a lot of people, like you said, they're just flying blind of like, let's test it out. We want to grow and scale. Let's test it out. And it can be a scary season.
Yeah. If I knew there was a company that does what we do for our clients that could do it for us, goodness, I would pay them so much money.
Yes.
Like see the value of it, but like it just doesn't exist, right? Because there's like in my business, I mean, how many other companies have exact experience with marketing to real estate investors for digital marketing services for motivated seller lead gen, right? Like 3, right?
Yeah. So, that's so good. I love that.
The repeatability, but like our clients get that benefit of everybody else is doing kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I love that. Brandon, talk to me. So there's 3 different platforms that you guys focus on the most: PPC, Facebook, SEO. And I'm curious, a lot of people, it seems like they are preferring PPC, or it's kind of like trendy right now. Is it just a marketing thing that like it's in the atmosphere a lot of people are talking about? Are you seeing that as well? Why PPC? Is that really a platform that is the returns are just stronger and performing better? Or tell me about your feedback on this.
Yeah. Basically the question is PPC is highly rated. Is it over or underrated though?
Yeah, exactly.
And I would say each of these channels kind of definitely fills a different function in the business. So I'll explain to you kind of how I would be thinking about this. Why is PPC popular? Well, PPC is popular because it's among the most inbound channels that you can have as a business, right? Even traditionally like inbound channels, like direct mail, I'm still sending them a postcard first, right? They didn't go to their mailbox thinking, I really hope there's a cash offer in my mailbox today. Or like, they don't have like a special mailbox they just go to when they want cash offers, right? They were kind of going there doing whatever they're doing. They're like, oh, shoot, cash offer in my house. That's actually useful. I'm going to call this company, right? That produces a different quality of lead than somebody who actually decides, you know what? I do need to sell my house. I think I'm going to go on Google and I think I'm going to search. Like, how much more likely is that person who then searches on Google and then they see all the ads and they look at yours and like, I want to click on that one. And then they go to your landing page and they look at all the content about your company and they're like, I will fill out a form and contact this company. Like, how likely is it that person doesn't want to sell a house? Like, pretty unlikely, right? And what's the likelihood? Like, think of like, a lot of other channels where, maybe now's the time, maybe now's not the time. For that person, what's the likelihood that now's the time? Well, they just took action to find you, right? It's pretty likely that now's the time. Like, will you get deals on follow up? Absolutely. But you're going to find that the leads convert at a higher rate and they convert quicker than they do from other channels, right? So if I'm a real estate investor and I think of this idea, well, could I be, instead of chasing people down, having people come to me that actually want to convert at a high rate and quickly, is that exciting to me? Absolutely. So those are the things that people love about PPC. The downside, though, it's expensive, right? Do other people want those same leads that are motivated and want to sell quickly? Yeah, they do. And when that person went to Google, they saw a big list of a bunch of other companies that do the exact same thing you do. What are the chances they reached out to multiple of them? Probably pretty high, right? So could it be a competitive lead? Absolutely. Could it be an expensive lead? Absolutely. So those are like, the pros and cons of PPC. So let's just say we compare that to SEO. I would say SEO is a very underrated channel. SEO, you get really that same kind of lead. You just got it organically instead of paying for it. So with SEO, you're basically getting the same quality of leads as you are from PPC. You're just getting them cheaper. Well, what's the disadvantage of SEO? If I want to do PPC like a light switch, I turn it on today and I'm probably showing up in Google searches tomorrow. I'm eligible. I could be getting leads tomorrow. For SEO, it might be that I start putting effort towards it today, and it's going to just ever so slowly ramp up over years, right? So when exactly do I get my return on investment? It's a little bit hard to say. It's going to depend on a lot of things versus PPC is kind of like that light switch. It's on, it's off. So SEO beats PPC from an ROI standpoint, but it has that really slow cash conversion cycle of your spend where you're just spending that money to do this stuff today that will get you leads in the future. And also if you stop spending money on it at some point, then you would continue to get leads from it because you're really building up this asset that generates leads. It's like you're building like a rental portfolio versus a wholesale company. And you look at the person who builds a wholesale company, you're like, look, they're making more money, but what if the rental portfolio guy, like he's going to be doing better in 5 years, right? So very, very different channels. The last channel would be paid social. And it has a lower quality of lead. It is technically inbound, but it has a lower quality of lead than the search channels because it is that you're like going out to those people choosing to respond to you. The advantage of that is the leads are a lot cheaper, right? So that's what I like about social. So they all kind of, have their own place they fit in.
What type of budget would you expect for some of these? I know that you're spending collectively right now about $2 million a month on ad spend, but that's also you're helping out 200 plus clients. And obviously they're getting a pretty darn strong ROI from this. Each of these platforms change slightly, but what type of spend should somebody anticipate and expect on these?
Yeah, it does depend on the channel. For PPC, I'd say most of our clients are starting out somewhere between 5 and 15 grand a month.
Yeah.
That's normal starting place. We saw more the client at like 160 grand a month. Does that happen sometimes? Yes. But usually it's because they're already spending the money. Like they already know the channel is money with a different agency. They're just choosing to work with us instead of that agency. People don't usually start brand new campaigns with no history with the channel at 160 grand a month. That's not. So that's PPC. A lot of that just depending on like what's possible in your market. And also, we have to always balance that we want sustainability there, right? We want to look at our marketing budget for the next 6 months and say that's something we're fine to commit to. And if 20 grand a month times 6 months is a lot of money to you, then maybe 20 grand a month is too much, right? And you want to ease down to I'd buy consistency over a really high monthly budget any day. But of course, the more budget you can spend, the more leads you get. Like that's a good thing. Facebook actually takes a little bit less budget than Google does.
Yeah.
Our clients there are spending 2 up to 6 grand a month. But there's some reasons that like people don't love it quite as much. Do we have clients spending 20, 30 grand on Facebook per month? Yes, it has a lower ceiling of PPC, right? So you won't be able to spend quite as much in your market. It has a strong diminishing return. SEO is actually the smallest budget option. Really 2 to 5 grand a month is really normal. Let's go.
Wow.
I do say that with a little bit of caution though, because
it depends on your market and everything, correct?
Yeah. So let me give you an example. I was in Puerto Rico like a few weeks ago at Jerry Norton. We had this event that a bunch of people went to there, and he had me speak at this event. Right. So I'm telling people about these different channels. I'm saying this one works this way, that one works that way. So someone tells me like, well, I feel like I want to start with SEO, not with PPC. And these are like newer investors, right? Yeah. And because PPC, you said like maybe 5 to 15 grand a month. So let's just say I'm taking 5. And SEO, you said like 2 to 5 grand a month. So let's just say I take 2. like I'm spending less money on SEO. I don't have a ton of money. So like SEO might be better for me because it costs less than PPC. And I said, well, not exactly, right? Because think about it like the cash conversion cycle matters a lot. So let's just say your cash conversion cycle with PPC was 90 days and your cash conversion cycle with SEO was a year. Well, how much money are you spending before you get it back on PPC? You're spending 15 grand. How much money are you spending before you get it back on SEO? 24 grand, right? Think about it. Like, let's just say you spend 10 grand a month for 12 months on PPC. How much money did you spend on PPC that year? One way to look at that would be, well, 10 times 12, it's 120 grand. Another way to look at that would be, I spent 30 grand and then I got it back. And then I put 30 grand in, then I got it back, right? So what did I do? I actually spent 30 grand 4 times. Kind of like if I was a hard money lender and I was lending out 500 grand at a time and I lent out 500 grand 4 times for each quarter in a year, did I invest $2 million that year or did I invest $500,000 4 times, right?
Yeah.
$500,000 4 times.
Yeah.
So that's a big factor of it. Like, does SEO have a higher return? Yes, but the slowness of the cash conversion cycle is actually pretty significant to where like you might, like if you're just looking at how deep do I have to get in the hole before I climb out of the hole, it might look better.
Yeah, that's so good. I think people need to acknowledge that and realize like that cycle so that they're not making those rookie mistakes, if you will. What other mistakes have you seen people that may be common that they just weren't aware of when it comes down to these marketing channels and setting it up properly for success?
Yeah, I will share. Let me share like one from each category for PPC. Let's talk about PPC specifically because it is what people tend to be most interested in. So I'll talk about like one thing from like the ad management side that people get wrong. And then let's also talk about like what the investor does wrong, because the reality is if you find like just the right agency on the management side, then all these I could possibly talk about it by doing wrong. You don't even have to understand or know them or care about them. So, however, we do have people all the time. We have this offer we have for a free audit where we basically say, like, if you're running ads and they're not working the way you want them to, you can come to us, we'll take a look at them and we'll tell you what's wrong with them. We'll give you the action plan of how you could fix it. And then you can run off and do that if you want, or you could choose to work with us. And so one thing that comes from that is we have people coming to us all the time. We get to look at these accounts. We get to figure out what's wrong. So we see the most common mistakes. The number one thing that I don't see happening that we find is really impactful across the industry is something called closed loop reporting. So if we're doing Google ads, there's 2 types of like quote unquote conversions you can get. One of them is called a online conversion. The other one is called an offline conversion. And the difference between an online and an offline conversion is basically where does it happen? Does it happen on or offline? So if we think I already told you how like I'm spending money on the ads, I'm getting the clicks, they're going to the landing page, they're filling out the form, and then I'm reporting a conversion. Well, the problem is in that system, all conversions are created equal in Google's eyes, right? So some of those leads you're getting, they could be spam, they could be on the market, they could be unmotivated, they could not even be in your market, right? All that data, all those different things could be happening with those leads, but you're just kind of giving Google a high five every time you get one. You're saying, you know what, Google, good job. Go give me some more of this stuff.
Yeah.
So what happens if you're getting bad leads and then you tell Google, good job, go give me some more of that? It's going to just keep on going in this cycle of just getting more and more off base, right? Just finding more and more of these bad leads. So how do you fix that problem? Well, you have to give Google better feedback. How do you give it better feedback though? Well, it turns out it's a little bit complicated because a lot of that feedback doesn't exist on your website, right? You don't know the moment that someone fills out the form if they're a good lead or not. A spam lead and a good lead might look the same, right? Sure. So where does that data live? It lives in your CRM. So offline conversions tracking or closed loop reporting is basically the process of attaching your CRM data into your ad account. And when you do that, what you do is you give Google quality feedback about what's happening with those leads, even beyond just the initial lead generation. And then what that does is it makes it so you can dial in your lead quality a little bit better, because a lot of people end up running Google ads and then they're actually surprised that the lead quality is not quite what they expected. But the problem is they're just optimizing for any lead. And then Google's finding their niches and finding these like bad quality leads because their competitors might be willing to spend a lot of money on the right leads and they're reporting what the right leads are to Google. So all the right leads are going to those people, and then you're kind of left with graphs that those people didn't want. So the offline conversions reporting is what it's called. And we find that it works like that kind of system. There's lots of different ways to do it. There's lots of different ways to analyze all that kind of stuff. But like things in that family, what we find to work really well. And it's the reason that our clients, when they move from a different agency to working with us, they tend to actually get less leads than they did with the other agency, but they do more deals, which I think is all after, right?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, less clutter and more just meat and potatoes of what you're looking for. But like you said, if you don't actually put the off what is it? Off one. Yeah. So if you're not putting this into the conversion and letting Google know, then obviously it's just going to keep going down the spiral in the wrong direction. Not what you want. So
Yeah, and people say like Google's bad, Google's trying to be bad leads, but like the reality is you didn't tell it what success looks like.
yeah.
It's doing what you told it to. You told it, you said like, this is what success looks like to me. It's a lead. I want you to give me as many as you can. And it's doing that. It just doesn't know the difference. So the other side of this is like, what can investors do? Like, even if you're working with the right agency, one of the biggest things that people trip up on at first when they're launching these kinds of channels is sometimes they just don't know that these leads need to be managed a little bit differently than just your average lead, because they are a little bit different based on how they're generated. I once had a client that was doing really well with cold call. They had a 10x return on cold call. They were doing almost $500,000 a month from cold call. They had a decent size operation, all is well, right? And they're like, well, we'll just add PPC leads. And you know what? We can close cold call leads, which suck. So we're going to take PPC leads and like, we're going to kill it, right? So they spend 10 grand a month on PPC. Month 1, no deals. Month 2, no deals. Month 3, no deals. Month 4, no deals. We're 40 grand in the hole and we haven't gotten a contract yet. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. Obviously they're coming to me saying, Brandon, I thought you said these leads are good. Close these leads. What's going on? So we made 2 changes. And after we made these changes, they, in the next 4 months, again, he spent 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand, 40 grand all in. And they had 17 deals for over $500,000 in revenue in those following 4 months from a similar number of leads. And the 2 changes were these. Number 1, urgency. They weren't getting to the leads fast enough. Leads would come in. They thought like, if I get to a lead within a few hours, like that's pretty fast. When the reality is with online marketing, it's like 60 seconds is usually what you're looking at, and even better, instantaneous, right? So getting the leads really quickly, because if that person goes to your website, how easily can they go to another website? Super easily. Could they then end up on the phone with that person, and then you're going to be calling them saying, oh, that's not a good lead, they're not answering the phone. And could they then decide they want to sign with that person? Then you're going to be calling them. And if they do answer, they're going to say they're not interested. Why? Because they have a contract with your competitor, right? Because these leads can move really, really fast, right? So urgency is so important. And then the other thing was assuming motivation. So for most marketing channels, what you generally do, and this is especially true for outbound, is when you get a new lead, you kind of assume it's not motivated until you can prove that it is motivated, right? I'm talking to this person that's like, oh, probably not a good lead, but let me ask you about these 4 pillars of motivation. I'm going to learn, like, is this a good lead or is it not? So what they were doing with their cold call marketing is they were looking for 2 of the 4 pillars of motivation. If they had at least 2 of those 4 pillars, they go on the appointment. And then what happens on the appointment, they close about 1 in 5 of those. That's 20% close rate from appointment to contract. With PPC, they just said, well, we'll just qualify them based on the 2 pillars of motivation. And it turns out they just didn't have that many appointments. They're talking to people that are saying, they want a super high price for their house, or they don't have to close, they don't have to sell this super quick, or it's in decent condition, or whatever the case is. So what they did, what I suggested they do is I said, just like, if they have a pulse in a house to sell, just go. Yeah. Right. And you would not believe what their close rate on appointments was. 20%. Yeah. Exactly the same as it was with cold call when they were qualifying based on 2 pillars of motivation. With PPC leads, all they did is they qualified based on like, this person has a pulse and they're willing to have an appointment, and they close at 20%. And they open up tons more appointments, because the fact that the person reached out to you and searched keywords on Google, that's motivation, right? Even if they're playing hardball on the phone, they're acting like they're not that motivated, like whatever the case is. So those were the 2 changes they made. They just said, if it's an appointment, if they're willing to do an appointment, we're going to do it. And they got to the leads extremely quickly. And that's how they got their close rate way higher, and they got their return on investment. And it's really normal, if you're not used to this kind of marketing channel, to miss on those things and take like leads that could be really quality and just not close them as well as you could.
That's so good. I love that. Talk to me. What does the future look like for you guys right now? What are you guys working on, and how many people are on your team actually?
We have 30 something, 35-ish, I want to say.
Yeah, man, talk about just leadership and building out the team and growing and scaling that. That's That's enough right there. That's a lot right there, my friend.
Yes, yes, it is. It is enough to where like at a point it would have terrified me. And definitely I'm not afraid of a large team, and even our future having a team of 50 or 100 people if we know how to manage it right. Like that's the key. Everything's hard when you're not good at it, but like if you're that kind of person that broaches things curiously and is always looking to learn, like you will become good at it. It's just a matter of time. You just got to make all the mistakes first, which I absolutely did and continue to do. But yeah, the future for us, like it's super simple. Like I'm not a shiny object guy. Like I am like the visionary, so to speak, of the company. But the way I operate is like just like within my box of like this is what we do as a company, and like we're just gonna get really, really, really good at it. So like most of the things that I'm pushing through, most of the stuff I'm working on is just how do we like get better and better. Like our whole like vision for this year is how do we create an experience for our clients that's so good that they simply cannot go somewhere else and get a better experience. Right. We want our number one source of new clients to be past clients. And this already happens quite a bit who work with us. And I literally just had a call with someone yesterday where they're like, I regret breaking up with you. Like I thought like it was, I was good. And then I dated two other people and I realized like you're pretty dang good. Right. Yeah. That's like the experience that we want to happen like way more often, right? Because we just want to be so far ahead, right? So that's what we're working on, and we're just doing the same stuff. We're just doing it better and better, and through that, like we just take on board like a few more clients. We just retain them a little bit better, like that's all we need to grow pretty significantly.
I love that. It's a like simple, but that's what's going to take you to the next level. So I love that.
The main complaints within the company is like, why is stuff changing all the time? Yeah. We get a lot of that. We're just like, it's like every day, every week, like we're doing this way now. This is new. There's a new SOP. There's a new process. We're hiring this. Your job title doesn't exist anymore. We restructured as this now. Yeah. Just everything. Yeah.
I love that.
Kind of make it just 100 little things, just being a little bit better.
You mentioned that you guys do a free audit for real estate investors that are looking for leads that fit within this marketing category that's trying to outsource it. So is that still something that you could offer to some of the listeners? And then how can anyone reach out to you?
Yeah, we can absolutely offer that. And that's true. I don't know how much of your audience is already doing this stuff. Like, let's just say you're already, or you have in the past run a PPC campaign and it didn't work out. Well, what's the number one thing to figure out? A lot of people are just like, oh, let me just throw something else against the wall and see what sticks. Like, what you have to do, you have to figure out why did it not work. And that's sure we fix that problem the next time we run this, right? It's pretty simple, right? So we'll go through the process and try to figure that out with you. And so if you're doing that, then we can totally help with that. We do it all the time. If you're not, and you're just, a real estate investor that's maybe interested in these channels, that would just be our typical like discovery process. And the way to do that is we get you set up in a call with my team. We'll talk to you more specifically about like what exactly you're doing, about what your market is, about what channels you're using currently. And we'll help you understand, is this something good for you or not? And the way you do that is you just go to batemancollective.com. And I guess that's the way you get the audit too. I mean, you talk to the same team and we'll just, take it different directions. But go to batemancollective.com. There's a little form to fill out to talk to the team, and you can schedule a call on the calendar.
I love that. I love it. Well, Brandon, you just gave an hour of your time, brother, during a hectic day as well. But I greatly appreciate it. Anything that me or the listeners could do to give back to you?
You've been awesome. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. All you can do is just talk to my team. Like, let us try to figure out how to help you. Jump into our sales funnel. That's all I can ask.
Yeah, guys, at the end of the day, look, if you are running a real estate team, if you are looking to start one and you have some budget to throw towards this and you want a new marketing channel, making it very simplified with a company that's already been there, already done it, already helping out a lot of freaking people and doing it in a massive way and getting awesome results, it's a true no-brainer. So treat yourself by like at least just sitting down and seeing more about what they do your due diligence. And if it's a good fit, then I encourage you, invest in your business, invest in yourself. You won't regret it. And yeah, Brandon's got a huge heart to make an impact. And like he said, how he originally started this, it's the same mentality that he will do today. He will make it work and make sure that he figures it out along the way. So it's a no-brainer. So reach out to them. It's batemancollective.com. You can reach out to those guys. And yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Check out our business page as well on Instagram. It is Credit Counsel Elite. If you're looking for massive amounts of funding, and I'm talking up to $500,000 with interest rates as low as 0%, we can show you how to get access to that. I'm talking a lot of funding. So you can get all this funding, favorable terms, up to 90% approval odds. And when you get all this funding, you can liquidate it into cash, buy real estate, start your business, grow, scale your business, do it intelligently. We have some investment opportunities as well where you can make strong, safe returns. If you're looking for something along those lines, then check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. There's a quick 10-minute video on there that explains more about what we do, helps answer your questions. And after that, you'll have more questions. So you can book a call with either me or someone on our team to understand exactly where you're at, where you're looking to go, and how to get there. Whether it's with us or we just give you a roadmap on how you can do it yourself. There's blessings behind it. So check that out. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. You're messing up. Do that right now so that you are in compliance with the program here, and so that you get the newest notification every single Monday. I love you guys all so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Till then, God bless. Brandon, appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.